What's the Car Talk podcast?
Hello and welcome back to the Car Talk podcast. I've got to get this right because Bayley has 2 seconds ago just informed me that I am hosting this one. Along with the usual car news and transportational opinion, you're joined by me, Matty, and of course our regular co-host Bayley Prickett from this channel, Car Talk. How are you doing, Bayley?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I think I'm hosting well.
You are so far. In the first set of 10 seconds.
Yes, as well, along with the usual car news and transportational opinion, of course, we try to have a theme, and we thought that this month we could do a Eurovision theme. Just a hint that Eurovision is coming to Liverpool this year. It will be hosted in Liverpool. That's Liverpool in the north of the country. My actual accommodation is up for rent on Airbnb if anybody would like to stay in the house of a famous YouTuber. But anyway, on with our theme, Eurovision. We thought that what we'd do was pick 3 cars from the countries that will be competing in Eurovision and have a sort of game of top trumps. But we'll kind of see how this one plays out. More on that later.
Yes.
I did run into a few issues. Did you, Bayley?
I mean, not really. I've originally got cars that were actually not in the Eurovision countries, and I was like, well, that's stupid of me. Why did I do that?
Yeah. But more on that later. Lots of great news this month for a change in the automotive industry.
Yes.
Would you like to start off, Bayley?
Sure. I mean, I've got a headline here, and it's a very important one, in my opinion, and it is the new 2024 Hyundai Ioniq 5 finally gets a rear windscreen wiper. What do we think of that?
That is brilliant. Hyundai just know how to treat their customers, don't they?
I know. It's extraordinary news, that is.
That's great.
Anyway, have you got anything?
Yes, anyway, and more news from Hyundai this month. They're our favourite car manufacturer at the moment, and they are men and women of the people. According to thedrive.com, Hyundai promises to keep buttons in cars because touchscreen controls are too dangerous.
It just doesn't make any sense.
No, it's brilliant news, Bayley.
Actually, yes, it is. Yes, because
Yes.
I always think buttons are the best way.
You haven't got to go into a screen. You haven't got the shitty haptic buttons that Volkswagen's got. Just simple physical buttons and dials to control the ventilation in your Hyundai. Great news.
Yes, that is great news. Sorry, I didn't hear what you said to begin with.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, at least, hopefully some of you did.
I've got a bit of a sad news actually on this occasion. Going to lower the tone again.
Yeah.
It's the Chevrolet Camaro is finally being axed, and that's after next year. But there is a successor in the works. We don't know what that is yet, but presume it would be electric of some kind of boring muscle car that is going to be not a muscle car anymore. So that's a bit of sad news. I do like the Camaro. I've always have liked the Camaro. From the the 60s one till the latest one, which is I think the CR1. Pretty sure that's the name of it.
Prefer the Camaro or the Mustang?
It's a good question actually. I don't know actually, because the Mustang's always been like the most sold one. But is it a better car? I don't really know. I've never driven both, but I do prefer the Mustang, I think, out of the two.
Similar sad news this week, not as sad as the Camaro, but the new Rolls-Royce Wraith, if you can say it. The Rolls-Royce Wraith is going out of production, and to see it off, we've got a Black Arrow edition, and it's going to be the last V12 powered Wraith to sort of, give it a little send-off. There's some pictures up here, Bayley. I assume that you haven't got access to them because I've just told you about this car now.
Don't worry, I'm on it already.
But the front of the car it's a lovely car. It's a Wraith, obviously. It's a roller. But it's got like sort of yellowy accents below the fog light grills, and also a yellow steering wheel.
Yeah, that is cool actually.
Well, well, each to their own. I don't think it's cool on a Rolls
don't like
Royce,
it?
to be fair. I think it's a little bit Fiat 500 special edition, but anyway,
I see what you mean.
the main point to take from this is that it is V12 powered, so it is like a proper good send-off car. But you know that on this podcast, Bailey, we do like a little bit of, what would you say, stereotyping?
Yes.
Yes, we do. And looking at this Rolls-Royce Wraith, first of all, it's a Wraith, so it's not particularly... It is exciting, but it's not a sports car. It has yellow accents and a yellow steering wheel. So I have concluded. Oh, and by the way, there's only going to be 12 of these made, if my memory serves me correctly. So just 12 available, and it's going to be bought, by my research, by 12 middle-aged Saudi people who are maybe going through a midlife crisis, because it just isn't going to interest anyone else. So there we go, Rolls-Royce Wraith out of production, 12 available, and it is the Black Arrow edition. I think that went well.
That didn't go well, because I'm a bit annoyed about that, because I actually do like it. It's got the old design. Because obviously they've done a lot of facelifting with the new stuff.
It's been on the market for 10 years. Yeah.
Has it? What this one has?
It just says the Wraith, the decade-old Wraith. So I'm assuming that it's been on the market for 10 years.
No, I don't know if that means that, because actually they released the Wraith about 10 years ago, I think.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
But this is just like okay, that makes sense. But I do like the yellow actually, and the massive screen thing that's on the passenger side, showing the engine. Of course, they're actually refurbing the Rolls-Royce garage as we speak down my road, so I'll go have a look at it in there when it's done.
Oh, very good.
I have an exciting piece of news. We've mentioned this a few times, but it's the new Lamborghini Aventador replacement is finally sort of been announced in terms of specs. Don't know if we've got any new images of it yet, but I'll put something on the screen if you are watching on YouTube, if it's the similar. If I have found the photo, basically, that's what I mean. But
if you can be asked,
yes, if I can be asked, which I should be able to. It will retain the naturally aspirated V12, which is already good news, but it will also have hybrid tech as well. And now it's supposedly going to be producing 1,000 horsepower, and it will look something like the new Countach. I don't know if you remember that, Matty. When we talked about that last year. Which is a very cool looking car. Now my favourite part about this as well is it will apparently rev to 9,500 RPM. So you just know that's going to be like a screaming V12, which is pretty cool.
Is it definitely the V12 that will be revving and not the electric battery?
Yes. No,
just the electric battery going around like a washing machine.
But it will have. I'd imagine it will have some sort of whine to it, but I'm assuming that it will be sort of hybrid tech like the LaFerrari. It's just sort of a backup thing. I don't think you can switch to it. I don't think you can switch to electric mode. I'm not sure, but we need to hear about later details on it. But I'm pretty sure that's what it's going to be like. But that's exciting news in my opinion, because being a big Lamborghini fan, I was worried that they would step straight away into electric, which is unfortunate. But they aren't now, which is good.
That is good. They're holding on for as long as they can. And they're saying as well that e-fuels in the European Union anyway, which is, I think that means like E10 sort of fuels, they will be exempt. Cars that run on that will be exempt in Europe from the 2035 petrol and diesel, well, a petrol ban anyway. So, yeah, that's a little bit contradictory, but good news.
Yeah, that is good news. Have you got anything else you'd like to talk about, Matty?
Few more things to rattle through before we move on to our theme. What do you think of this? The new 2023 Ford Explorer. It's an electric SUV.
I've got this down as well, mate.
And it takes on and is based on the Volkswagen ID4.
Yeah, which is interesting because they've used, Americans have finally used something that is German rather than bombing them, and it looks all right. I think it's a bit odd looking at the front. It's got the reminiscence of the Explorer, which is obviously always ideal.
I thought that. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't mind it. It's the back's nice.
I
The
think
interior looks pretty normal. Not just some massive screen again. I mean, there is a big screen in it, but it's not like over the top.
I think it's
Overall
definitely one to watch, isn't it? I think it's one that will possibly grow on you, but it already looks pretty solid to me.
Is it me, or does it look a bit smaller than the previous one, like the previous petrol, the latest petrol one? Because
Is the petrol one still going?
yeah, well they've got one for this year. I'm pretty sure because this comes out next year. I'm pretty sure. So I think there's the last petrol one this year, and then this one afterwards. But if you look at the 2023 or whatever it is, one of it, it's quite big. But I'm pretty sure this new electric one is a lot smaller. I mean, there's literally a picture of a woman standing next to it, and she's taller than it, which kind of suggests that it's not very big.
She might just be a very tall woman.
Possibly, yes. If you want to know some more about it, it's got, well, as you know, as Matty said, it's Volkswagen ID4 based, and it'll also do about 250 to 300 miles of range. It's a bit sad, isn't it, that we have to sort of talk about the range of cars, whereas before, you know, with the petrol cars, they don't have to do that. It's kind of a bit of a weird one talking about range.
It's still very. I really don't know how it's going to go with these electric cars, because I'm very happy to, you know, see how it goes and let people do what they want to do. But like last night, I drove. I stopped at McDonald's and I seen just a guy sitting in his Tesla with it plugged in there, just sitting there, obviously waiting for it to charge. And it's like, really, like, is this surely isn't the future? Do you know what I mean? And of course, it's going to get worse before it gets better, because more people will buy electric cars.
Yeah,
and
all the NPCs.
until the chargers, until we build enough chargers, and then until the chargers can charge the cars faster than they are now, it's all a bit of a mess.
It is all depressing, in my opinion. I literally stopped at a services on last Monday because I was filming in Birmingham, so I had to drive all the way up there in the morning and come back the same day, which is if you don't know, is up north.
Yes.
And it's sort of near you, Matty. I was kind of halfway between you and me, and on the way back I was really tired, so I pulled over and just had a Burger King and, you know, the usual. And there was, in Oxford Services, I don't know if you've been there, they've got a whole line of just Tesla chargers, and it's just I was looking at it like that is depressing. That is the future. Just end it now. I've got one more piece of news I'd like to dabble in.
Yep.
It is the new Mercedes G-Class, which is going to be called the EQG. It's obviously, by the name of it, electric.
Seen this.
And it's going to have 4 motors, which is quite a lot, and it's going to do 400 miles of range, which technically means that one motor will do 100 miles. Which is maths.
Are they definitely making this car, do you think?
Yes, I think so, because there's already a concept of it, and it's releasing next year.
I just can't imagine an electric G-Wagon. I'm sorry.
I mean, the good thing about it is it doesn't look any different. It's still already got.
I'll give you that. Yeah, I'll give you that.
Apart from maybe the grille being a holograph for some reason, I don't know why that's all just lights, and the wheels are different and stuff. It's marginally the same shape, pretty much, as the previous or the current one, which is a good thing. And I actually think it will probably not look as mental as the pictures are. I don't know if you've seen there's a one of those ones in the camo, and it's
go on.
Yeah, it's just got like normal wheels, and the lights don't look as obscure.
Well, there's one I'm looking at here where the spare wheel that sticks to the tailgate, the cover is LED lined.
Yeah, I've seen that.
What is this thing with LEDs at the minute? Like, why?
I don't know. I think the whole point of LED lights is to make everything look modern, doesn't it? It just makes everything look like in the future.
Yeah, but it just exposes. It just looks tacky to me. You know what I mean?
You don't need LEDs really.
No, and when the bulbs go in a car that runs on LEDs, it's a fucking fortune to replace.
Yeah.
So I'm told.
But they do last. But they do last like something million hours or something, don't they?
bad news from the north. Unfortunately, I do regret.
When is there
to tell
good
you
news?
Well, the good news is that Liverpool will be hosting the Eurovision Song Contest. So if you're looking for somewhere to stay, anyway, yeah, it's not bad news from Liverpool, but it is bad news from the north. I don't know if you've read about this, Bailey, but unfortunately, there is a bit of a parts shortage at the minute with the Ukraine war. So people in the north have resorted to stripping people's cars that are parked on their driveways for the parts that they either want or the parts that they want to sell on. Unfortunately, there has been 9 examples of this. One of them being a Citroen C1, the other being a Range Rover, and another being a Vauxhall Corsa. So this was just
Vauxhall's all right, but that's everything else.
Well, yeah, the Vauxhall was an improvement. It actually works now. Now, these 9 incidents were just in January alone. Would you like to guess which northern city these 9 crimes occurred in?
Bradford.
I understand why you've guessed that. No, it was Birmingham. So,
Oh, really?
yeah. So it's a good job they're not hosting the Eurovision Song Contest, isn't it?
Yes, it is. But also, I'm glad that when I was there last week, that didn't happen to my
I
car,
know,
because you could
I know.
quite easily take the bumper off without any use of tools.
You really could. I mean, that is, you are literally driving round to spares and repairs at the minute. Has it been fixed yet?
No, mate, it's still ongoing. There's a lot of hassle with the insurance company. We're still having a go at them every day, and they're not doing anything about it. So that's fun.
Sell it to Coparts.
Yeah, I don't know, mate. I still want to keep it. It's just it's not like a difficult job to do, mate. I can do it on my own pretty much. I just put to get the parts and then swap it over like the people in Birmingham, but obviously not as tatty of a job.
Yeah, just go to Birmingham and see if you can see any Miatas around.
Just get some Albanian to say, can you just replace that part for me, please, mate? Cheers. Oh no, I'm not paying you for it.
Quick few headlines from me before we move on to our theme. But we'll do all 3. See what you think of these.
Cool.
BBC stops filming latest Top Gear series after Freddie Flintoff crash.
Yes,
Freddie Flintoff I think he's not a racing driver. He's like a ball boy or something in the tennis or the cricket. Is he?
I don't know, mate. I don't know much about.
I think he's a ball boy. Anyway, that Top Gear reportedly cancelled, which, I won't miss it. And Jeremy Clarkson voted the sexiest man, apparently.
That was funny. That was very funny. I agree.
Yes.
Yes. What else have you got?
That's it.
Oh, that's it. Well, those are 2 pretty good. Well, one of them is pretty good piece of news, and that is the Top Gear one. Obviously, I'm joking. Yeah. No, to be fair, I read regarding the Top Gear thing you mentioned. I saw that Jeremy actually commented on the situation, and he was like, "I hope that Top Gear doesn't, just go. He wants to carry on because he obviously still, feels strongly about the show, I suppose. And it's good that he does. I imagine if he was like, "Oh, it should go because I got fired from it."
Yeah,
yeah. At least it's actually
bit salty.
Yeah, it is. I'm glad he's not like that, but Oh, that's all from me. Should we move on to our theme, Matty?
Yes, let's.
You can start on that.
Yeah, so we thought we'd do like a Eurovision sort of theme because the Eurovision is coming to Liverpool. Should mention that.
Is it?
Yes.
You didn't mention it.
Eurovision coming to Liverpool, and there are a number of countries participating. So we thought that we'd cherry pick a few of the best cars from said countries. And have a sort of makeshift game of top trumps. Now, you said you didn't have any problems with this challenge for our theme at all, right?
Well, initially I did because I originally picked Japan as one of my countries, and I was like, hang on a second, that's not in Europe.
Yes.
So I was a bit of an idiot. And then I chose Ukraine, and I was like, they don't make any cars. So it didn't go well to start with, but I'm all right now.
Well, I know we haven't kicked off yet, but naturally, Ukraine are the winners of our competition today, goes without saying.
Yes.
But I did have some issues myself, because none of these countries, or hardly any of them, actually even make a car. We've got Malta, Albania, Belgium. They made a sports car about 10 years ago. Greece, they can't even make a salad now. The whole country falls apart. So
all catches on fire.
I did have to do a bit of homework really and go through a few of these, but I have got my 3, and I think one of them you'll be very impressed with.
Okay, well, let's start with that then, Matty. I want to hear this.
You want to hear it? So you mentioned earlier that unfortunately Japan aren't in the Eurovision Song Contest hosted by Liverpool this year, but I have a solution for that, for you anyway, because Australia are in the competition this year, and once upon a time they made a car, and it was actually a car called the Bullet Roadster SS, and it was a performance boosted Mazda MX-5.
I never knew this. This is quite interesting.
So there you go. So
is it the Bullet Performance SS?
Bullet Performance SS, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is a Mazda MX-5 pretty much.
But it's Oz,
Yeah. It looks like they just rebuilt the whole. They've got the rear of it still.
It's a Mazda MX-5 playing a didgeridoo. That's what it is.
That is quite funny. So what are the stats on this then? I want to listen to this.
Wouldn't you like to know? I am trying to find that I had the stats. Straight line performance, right? Okay, here we go. 320 kilowatts, 575 newton meters of torque.
What's the horsepower?
I don't know, but the
you didn't write this down.
Well, I had it here, but I think I've changed to a different page, and it's hang on.
Once again, we're always prepared.
Down the quarter mile in 13.5 seconds. It was 120.
It's got a 4-litre V8 from a Lexus. It's
have you? In fact, you can take
6 horsepower.
You can take over from this.
This is on the cool wheel as well. They voted it seriously uncool. That's quite funny. It only weighs 1.1 tons, and it has. I'm trying to find the top speed. Where is the top speed? There isn't one.
There isn't. It's limitless. I've won.
It will do some sort of speed at some sort of miles an hour.
But
very interesting.
Faster than the MX-5, and it is Australian.
For sure. It's Australian when they've engine swapped it with a V8.
So beat that.
Okay, well, I definitely won't beat it with my first choice. I've chosen Spain as my country, which I'm pretty sure is in the Eurovision. I might have to check that, but I'm going with it anyway.
Well, let me refer to the list, but carry on, yeah. Yes, they are. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And I've chosen, which is technically not Spanish anymore, it's a Seat Ibiza Cupra 2016, because I owned one. Well, not the Cupra, but I owned the Ibiza. And the stats on this, I've got 189 brake horsepower, which is, well, nothing compared to the whatever SS Bullet thing it is. It will do 146 miles an hour. It's on sale at £10,000, and I've given it a score out of 100 of 59. Just what I think of it, basically.
Have you?
Yes.
What an insult to all of these brilliant countries competing in Eurovision 2023, and you've picked a Volkswagen Polo derived hatchback.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I could have thought. It's just the first thing that popped to mind, and I was like, yeah, that would work in Spain.
Well, I've gone for Germany, and
Of course.
well, what better to pick than, well, there is better ones to pick, but I picked an Audi R8, 532 to 611 bhp, depending on the engine that you go for. 0 to 60, 3 seconds. Fuel economy 18.8 mpg.
Nice. And is that all the stats you have?
Well, let's find out the top speed, which I am googling now.
It's about 204 miles an hour.
205.1 miles an hour.
Well, this is interesting, Matty, because I've gone for a similarly spec'd car for my next option. Obviously not intentionally, but I've chosen the UK.
We've never produced this show, I know.
Yes, so I've chosen UK, and specifically the Aston Martin DBS Superleggera, because it is a fantastic car. And then the stats on this, Matty, it's, as I said, similarly spec'd-ish to your Audi R8. It will do, well, it has 715 horsepower. It will do 211 miles an hour. Costs £280,000. And I've given it a rating out of 100 of 87. And I believe I have won that round. If you compare it with the Audi R8, mostly.
If you compare it with the Audi R8, we've only actually got three rounds of cars, 3 cars.
Yeah, so we're tying at the moment. It's down to the decider of this. The
decider is this, and it's funny, I've also picked the UK as a country. I have, yeah. And I've gone for the Aston Martin Valhalla, which is a twin-turbo V8 combined with a plug-in hybrid setup. And unfortunately, Bailey, that means that you're in the losing team because it generates 937 horsepower with a top speed of 217, which is more than 211 miles an hour.
Yes, so we're not comparing it with the Aston Martin that I've just said. We're doing it with my next car, which I'm definitely going to lose.
Well. And, sorry, I rate it 100 out of 100. And, 2.5 seconds to 62.
Have you heard
curb weight of 1,000 kilograms?
If you listen to it in real life, it sounds crazy, this thing.
Yeah, no, I haven't actually.
I'm pretty sure it's got the F1 engine, but it doesn't rev as high. It's got the old F1 V8 hybrid. But anyway, my final choice, which I've definitely lost compared to this mighty car, is I've chosen Italy as the country. And specifically, I've chosen the Fiat 500, 1957, the Fiat 500L. And the stats on this, can you believe it? The horsepower for this car is a monstrous 22 horsepower.
Wow.
And the top speed, it will do 59 miles an hour. But the price is 20 grand, which is significantly lower and better than your Aston Martin Valkyrie, or Valhalla, whatever it's called. And I've given it a rating out of 100 of 98.
Very good.
Which I think is very modest. And I'm pretty sure that makes you the winner, and that means you have overtaken Ukraine in terms of winning Eurovision.
Great. Well, that had to happen.
Great.
That had to happen because I am in Liverpool and that's where it's happening.
Exactly, that kind of needed to happen, didn't it?
Yeah.
Is that the reason why you chose to do a Eurovision thing? Because it's hosting in your town then?
No, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I just thought that it would be a nice theme to, to get out there and fly the flag for Eurovision. A lot of people are a fan of Eurovision. It's happening this year. It's always a big thing happening in Liverpool.
Isn't it?
Happening in Liverpool. I've got accommodation to rent, so it just felt like the right fit for this month's theme.
Yeah, I agree. It's a good theme, and hopefully you have enjoyed it. We might as well wrap it up now because we've done everything that we can. We hope you enjoyed this theme this month. We'll try and get a guest on next month, but it was sort of a little bit rushed this month.
Yeah, if we can be asked, yeah.
Yeah. Matty, do you want to plug your social medias as usual?
Yes, certainly can. Hang on, I thought I was hosting this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can say that then.
Right, so we hope you've enjoyed this theme of Eurovision 2023. We may be back next month with a guest. We may not.
Yes.
It was a little bit rushed this month.
Busy.
Yeah. So I think what's left to do is wrap up now and say to you, Bailey, would you like to plug your social medias?
Yes.
Big yawn.
We are filming this in the morning, which is quite unusual for us. Because we usually film in the evening, but it's currently 9:51 a.m.
Wait till you see my bed head here. Like I'm off work this week.
So if you want to subscribe to us, I don't know why you'd be watching this video on YouTube and not subscribe to us. So make sure you do if you haven't. Which is down below, and you can follow us on all social media platforms for the latest updates on videos, which is very rare, a very rare occurrence on the channel at the moment, and that's on TikTok and Instagram. So our TikTok is Car Culture Club YT, and our Instagram is _YT, because it wouldn't let us do the other one. And if you want to see some other things on my channel, like me running through my living room with a gun, you can follow my personal account, which is Bayley Prickett 27 for acting stuff as well. So yeah, Matty, would you like to do the honours of yours?
I'd love to. Obviously, I am not a big part of Bailey's channel, but if you'd like to see more of me, then you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, Matty's Cars. Want to follow my Instagram, it's Matty's Cars YT. And if you'd like to see pictures of me, my mum and dad at an 18-year-old's birthday party, then follow my personal Instagram, Matsgram99.
Nice one.
So I think that's it.
It is, yes.
It is.
Thank you for watching and listening this month. We'll see you next time, I suppose.
See you next time.